Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're doing really well. Now we speak a lot about narcissists and what NPD is, but what actually about healing from narcissistic abuse? What about surviving a narcissist? Yes, we do need to get educated about NPD and who and what a narcissist or an archepath is. And once we have a decent knowledge of what and who that is, we need to turn our attention towards our own healing. In today's video, I want to share some information about the narcissist that I think is really essential to understand. And I'm going to share this with you because this was my starting point. And it was the awareness that I needed to help me to break the trauma bond with the narcissist. So in sharing it, I hope that it resonates and I hope that it's going to be helpful to you watching. And please do let me know in the comments what you think. So basically today I'm going to be talking about, number one, what the narcissist needs from you, what their ultimate goal is. And this, I really believe, is the key to freeing you. And also I'm going to cover what people are more likely to fall prey to narcissists and also reflect upon who doesn't fall prey to narcissists, which I believe is also really important to understand. So whilst we establish all of this, towards the very end, I'm going to also share with you some advice for what I believe is the most beneficial for you and your healing process. And before I kick this off, if you're new here today, a really warm welcome to this channel. I look at this subject of NPD and narcissistic abuse from a really holistic lens, and I don't only credit the psychology, but I also bring in the spiritual element, which I do believe is essential in the healing process. So if you appreciate my work, then please do help me out by liking, sharing, and considering subscribing to the channel. So what do you think is the narcissist's need? What's their main goal? What do you think they want the most from you? And not only from you, but really from everyone. They want to be the ultimate authority of your life. They need to be the ultimate authority of your life. That's the core desire, and that's the truth. Don't do as I do, do as I say. That sums up a narcissist logic. They don't believe in a level playing field because they actually believe they need to be the higher power and authority, and they have the right to lord their control and dominance over everyone else. Of course, they're compensating because people that come from a true place of strength and power, they don't need to control others, and they don't need to be considered as superior as narcissists do. But it doesn't matter where this comes from. This video isn't about digging deep into the narcissist. This is about you. Everything that happened to you in that narcissistically abusive relationship was intended to groom and mold you into accepting their authority over you. So they trained you to submit to them. And because this happened so covertly and deviously, you're so off-center in those relationships, you're purposely kept off-center, so you can't connect with what's truly going on. You don't even know what's being done to you. That's narcissistic abuse. The narcissist does many things, but ultimately the goal is to get you to submit your power to them as the authority over you. And this is a large part of why I believe that survivors of narcissistic abuse still feel so trapped and entrapped, is because the narcissist is still the authority of your life somehow. And the whole process of healing from narcissistic abuse, this recovery, is reclaiming and regaining your personal autonomy. Now, if you keep in mind that narcissists need to be the ultimate authority of your life, they're looking for people, for subjects that will accept this as reality, not only accept it, but be brainwashed into believing that it's truth. And this doesn't work with a lot of people, because the moment that the narcissist tries, a lot of people will be like, hang on a second. No, but a person that is more likely to accept a narcissist as their authority, to believe in this delusional reality. It's not reality, it's a fantasy. It's a person that is seeking validation and approval from outside of themselves. And the reason that somebody would be more inclined to look for validation and approval from outside is because they have a core wounding. And that core wounding is basically feeling not enough, not feeling good enough, not feeling lovable. And that leads to a lack of self-esteem, where the individual is unable to validate themselves and they become reliant on others to do it for them. But if you cannot validate yourself, if you don't have a strong sense of yourself, of your self-worth, your self-esteem, then you will give the power of this authority to another person for their approval and their validation. And when we hand our personal autonomy, our power, and give another person this authority, and the person's a narcissist, that is when it is so dangerous and so damaging, because we know what happens. Slowly in a narcissistic relationship, the narcissist starts to invalidate you. So at the start, they've raised you up and they've almost worshipped you. Actually, Professor Vaknin says in this moment, they're giving you a taste of what narcissistic supply feels like for them to receive. And you see, the narcissist controls you through your emotions. A narcissist will make you feel great, and then they'll start to disapprove of you. And they're going to find fault eventually over time in everything that you do. And this becomes what I call soul trashing, because it's so inhumanely disrespectful and it's unbelievable abuse that permeates you to such a soul level. It gets really deep. Why? Because at the start, they won your trust. You believe that they loved you. And then as time goes on, they become really terrible. If you've got low self-esteem and you don't inherently feel good, you don't feel good enough about yourself, I'll tell you how this plays out in your subconscious, in the dialogue that you tell yourself. You say, they loved me when they didn't know me, but now that they know me better, they realize how flawed and how unlovable I truly am. I understand it. I believe that too. They're right. What we don't realize is that the narcissist will do this process with everybody. It's not a reflection on who you are. It's just people with healthy esteem that feel good enough and worthy of love. They won't buy into this script from the narcissist. They won't accept or tolerate the behavior, because narcissists need people that will accept their authority, remember. So naturally, those with low self-esteem and the need for outside approval are prime targets for narcissistic relationships. There is a saying, we don't get what we deserve, but we get what we put up with. So when the narcissist finds a match with someone that they can bring into this delusional fantasy space, they've achieved their ultimate goal, because they need to be important to others. They're reliant on other people to submit their personal autonomy over to them. If the narcissist can get you to believe that they're your authority, then they have the power and control that they so desperately need. And to keep them propped up and feeling good about themselves, they need you to feel worse. For them to feel better, they need you to feel inferior. That makes them superior. And in all of this, what I'm trying to say is, if you have been in a relationship with a narcissist and you've been through this abuse, at some point you've given the narcissist authority. They've got you to believe that they're significant to you, which they're really not. And they've also got you to buy into the subconscious narrative that you need them. And this is all transference, because they need to be significant to people. Otherwise, to a narcissist, this means they don't exist. And they're afraid of abandonment and losing control of others, especially of great supply sources. They need you. And the only way that they can get all that they need is by becoming the authority over you and you believing in that. And this process is narcissistic abuse. And it's designed for you to lose your personal autonomy. But not everybody is prepared to lose their personal autonomy. We will have a look at some people that will not fall prey to narcissists. And honestly, we use them as examples to study. Narcissists are looking for a target that doesn't have a strong sense of who they are. They're not awakened to the truth of who they are. And what I mean is, narcissists, they love people that have so many amazing inner gifts that don't know their power or potential, that undersell themselves on so many occasions, that don't value what they have. And in life, I've seen it reflected upon people so many times. Naturally, those that have so much value don't value themselves. And those that actually have less reason to value themselves have more value for themselves. Study from those people that have very healthy self-esteem and value. And I'm not talking about arrogant people. I'm just meaning people that honestly believe in their own value, that know that they're lovable and worthy of good things and good relationships. Yes, okay, these people usually tend to be more on the taking spectrum. They're more takers than givers. Usually, not always, by the way. But I believe that if you are a highly empathetic person, or even an empath, it's actually good to study the people that are more on the other end of the spectrum. Not narcissists, not mean people, not arrogant people, not selfish people, but just people that have a strong sense of self-worth and that have very strong boundaries. There's nothing wrong with studying these people. When we don't have good self-value, when we don't think we're good enough, we have this wonky gauge because we already have a lot of limiting beliefs about ourselves, and not just limiting, but sabotaging. And remember, the world usually will reflect what we expect. When we feel inherently unlovable, many times we're going to get partners that are aligned with that belief, that treat us poorly and magnify what we believe is our unlovability, because we're already off kilter. We aren't strongly centered and self-centered as some of those other people with healthy, self-value. And we're actually easier to tamper with and contaminate for narcissists. Much easier, because to a narcissist, that's your weakness. And the narcissist, is going to mess with you. They need always to find an access point. And someone that has a very strong sense of who they are and who doesn't need anyone else to validate them is going to be really hard access. Look, of course, we can all enjoy some flattery and ego stroking, but a person who's strongly connected to their self-esteem and inherent self-worth is far less likely to give their power away. I believe in a healthy relationship that nobody will ever ask you to give your power away. Nobody that loves and respects you would want to take your power away from you. A healthy person will love the fact that you have your own personal power and will admire your autonomy, will find it attractive. But obviously this would never happen with narcissists, because your power and your autonomy is too much of a threat to them. And remember, balance and harmony are not what relationships are about to narcissists. You have to self-abandon to accommodate the narcissist. This can't work out well for anyone apart from the narcissist, because it's no kind of deal. The narcissist has always got to keep your focus on them, away from yourself. They need to keep you away from your sense of self-worth, your validation, because they know if you touch who you are, it means curtains for them. And the narcissistic relationship actually pushes people through pain to value themselves and define what their values are, because we lose ourselves to the point of almost complete destruction to find ourselves. And this process is a resurrection, and it can be extremely powerful for you. But there's one thing standing between you and your power, and it's them, the narcissist. In a relationship with a narcissist, you get trained over time to understand that they can't cooperate with anyone else that has any kind of opinion. They can't, be in contact with an individual. So if you're partnered with one, or if you're in some kind of a family or friendship dynamic, you can't have a voice. You can't speak the truth. You have to agree with everything that narcissist says. And the narcissist will speak at you. They simply don't care to hear from you. They don't care about you, full stop. The only thing that bothers them is that you're there, and they get to have this authority over your life. And I'm purposely using the word authority because it combines both power, control, and dominance. And it's a word that I think many people can grasp hold of. I needed that word. I needed that word to turn around and say to them, no, I will not let you be the authority of me. I want to be like those other people that don't let you have your own way. And the word authority helps you to rebel. And we need to rebel. Quietly, outwardly, loudly, inwardly. And we need to reclaim our autonomy. And I want to define the word autonomy because I think it's the perfect word for survivors. Autonomy is the ability to make an informed, uncoerced decision, or it's the state of being self-governing. This puts me in mind of Queen Elizabeth I of England, and she had a golden rule, and she never married, and they called her the Virgin Queen. The origin of the word virgin, by the way, was very different, very, very far away from the meaning chaste. It actually originally meant an independent woman that was in charge of herself. So whether you're a man or a woman, as a survivor, of narcissistic abuse, we have to become autonomous, independent, and self-governing. We can't allow anybody to be our authority. And remember, narcissist authority is tyrannical. They're tyrants. It's gross. A huge part of the healing journey to enable us to be safe from narcissistic abuse is to learn to validate ourselves and to feel lovable and whole as we are. We know we're enough. We know we're loved as we are. We know that although we're not perfect, because nobody is, we don't deserve bad treatment or abuse from anyone. And we don't need anybody to tell us who we are or who we're not, because we are the only ones that has that kind of authority in our lives. In this process, we need to disconnect and cleanse our being of the narcissist voice that still lives within us. This voice isn't somebody that loves you or that knows you. It's a liar. It's a deceitful, manipulative voice that wants to harm you. Your task is to reject their voice, disconnect it to the truth of your being and the truth of who you are. And if you don't know the truth of who you are, then it's time in this process to start to connect with you, connect with yourself, learn about who you are. And when we're going through the healing, what we really need to do is we need to restabilize ourselves, because the narcissist needed you to be destabilized. That's how they get their authority in the first place. So restabilize yourself, and you can do that really through a very healthy, simple self-care regime. Get a healthy structure back into your life, and obviously be in a safe space that you can do it, because your nervous system was on overdrive when you were the narcissist. That's the truth. That's how they get you so destabilized. Relaxation is so important to you. It's time to calm your entire system and slow it down, because your nervous system has been communicating with you that you've been unsafe. That's because you have been unsafe, because you've been with the narcissist in that relationship. They're not safe. You will never be at home or at peace with them. So being in a safe space where your overcharged nervous system has a chance to calm down is so important. We need so much relaxation after narcissistic abuse, and it's time to really love and pamper yourself on so many levels. Do that for yourself. So we get in a safe space. We're able to calm our nervous system down. We start a self-care regime. We start a structure, a healthy structure in our life. It's going to help us on so many levels to get back into ourselves. Eat healthy. Get fresh air, spend time in nature, avoid booze and drugs, because they're not going to help you to stabilize you or to find clarity within your mind. Get decent sleep. Make sure that you're getting the rest that you need. Be careful about the company that you keep, because make sure the people are loving, kind, and they're stable, that they're not chaotic. Then to really connect with ourselves. This needs to happen one-to-one. It's between you and you. Nobody else is involved in this process. Some people like to spend time imbibing in nature. They go to nature to top up their energy, to feel connected and peaceful. And other people, they find that meditation helps them hugely to connect with the truth of who they really are. Prayer is also used. And prayer and meditation, by the way, works hand in hand. No chanting is needed. It is just a process of quietening the mind, turning the focus inwards, zoning out the outside world. So we're becoming more connected with what we have within us. Other people don't like the thought of meditation, which is fine. Some people prefer simple prayer. Whatever it is for you that creates a connection, not only to yourself, but you might find that the connection is much larger than you ever thought. Because as you connect with yourself, you connect with a spiritual essence that is connecting all things through love and through peace. And these are two things that narcissist has no connection to. The emphasis here is on connecting with who you are. And you've got to focus internally for this to happen, because it doesn't come from outside sources. So you can see how this process can be really beneficial for a person that is healing from narcissistic abuse. So in all of this, you cleanse, you rebalance, you reconnect with yourself, and you slowly start to disconnect from the internalized voice of the narcissist and their authority, their fake authority over you. You recognize that they're not the authority of your life, and you reclaim yourself from them, because they did take you away from a time. They kept you as a hostage. Now it's time to get yourself back. And it's very common for narcissists to try to check back in with you. Many times it's the Hoovers, where, what they're really doing is they're checking in to see if they're still your authority. Do they still hold power and control over you? They want the answer to be yes, they must be your authority and your checkpoint. They don't want you to flee from them or to wake up to the ways that they've entrapped you through their deceit. They hope that they've made you inferior enough and dependent enough on them to always look for them. This is how people get trapped. In this process of reclaiming yourself, you'll be breaking the chains of that bond, that trauma bond, that spell that they put upon you. You need to awaken to the truth of who you are and realize that they're not the authority. You're your own authority. You don't need anyone else to govern you. Narcissistic relationships are an absolute hell space. Whoever enters them or gets tricked into entering them will encounter exactly the same hell. We don't have to stay in that hell with the narcissist. The narcissist will always be there, but you don't have to be. You can choose to live in the light on higher frequencies. Love, joy, and peace are your birthrights that we should not let anybody steal from us. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and I really hope that it's been helpful. Let me know what you think by leaving a comment below. And if you've appreciated this video today, then you can help me out by liking and sharing so I can get this message out to more people that might need it. And don't forget, this channel is also dedicated to helping survivors of abuse to recover and heal through comedy. So if you haven't seen my skits, go check them out and tell me what you think. Thank you so much for watching. For now, take care, and I'll see you next time.